Ken Rosenthal leading the league with what looks like a very hot situation with the Boston Red Sox and looking for a suitor on a Mookie Betts deal.
They are, and they are trying right now to complete a deal from every indication with the Padres, the Dodgers, some other club. The talks are serious. They've been going on, and we'll see what happens here. They've maintained all offseason that it's unlikely they'll trade Betts, that he's likely to be in the opening day lineup, but clearly there are serious conversations taking place. The Padres are the one team that seemed to be at the forefront here. Dennis Lin of The Athletic reporting that Friday. And the Padres have an interesting situation to offer. They will want the Red Sox to take Will Myers and the remaining $61 million on his deal. Will Myers is a $13.8 million luxury tax hit per year. That's his average annual value. And there would likely have to be cash in the deal going back to Boston to help defray some of that. A Red Sox fan will say, why would we want Will Myers? He is a sunken asset. Yes, but that's the price you would have to take for getting some of the prospects, the better young players that the Padres have to offer. One of whom has been mentioned, Luis Campusano, a young catcher, one of the top 100 prospects in the game. So it's not clear whether this is actually going to happen, but the talks are taking place, and the Padres are not the only team involved. The Dodgers also are a team that has been looking all offseason to acquire an impact talent and a guy who can transform their franchise, elevate them from where they are now, which is the NL West favorite, to an even higher level, perhaps a World Series favorite. And of course, they have not won the series since 1988. So, why would the Red Sox do this? This is a question people have asked. It's a question I've asked in print, because if you've got a team you think is capable of winning the division, you've got one more year of Mookie Betts, albeit at $27 million, why are you trading a guy who is on a Hall of Fame trajectory? The reason would be this. They have been unable to sign Betts to a long-term extension. Clearly, he wants to be a free agent, and you can't blame him. Elite free agents are getting paid in this baseball world of ours, and he could be a guy who next offseason gets $375 to $400 million. People might say, well, that's more than Mike Trout. Yes, Trout got $360 million in new money, but Betts will be negotiating with all 30 teams, not just one. And if you're the Red Sox and your farm system is down and you're in a situation where you've got maybe, 25 to 30% chance of winning the division in a division that's loaded with the Yankees and the Rays, you've got the possibility of collecting future value for Betts in some fashion, and you have the ability to work toward getting under the luxury tax threshold, which they've told us is a goal of theirs. That is something you at least have to look at versus the one-year hit of having Betts and sacrificing that future value and not getting under the threshold. So these are the choices the Red Sox face. If they make this trade, those will be the reasons. The idea that they cannot sign him, the idea of getting under the threshold or getting close to it, and getting whatever value they could get from the Padres. Another option would be simply to wait until the deadline, but then you run the risk that Betts might get hurt, might have a first half that somehow depresses his value. A lot of things can happen. Maybe the Red Sox are really hot and they can't trade him at all. So this is a possibility. Again, not likely until it happens, I guess you'd have to say, but there have been serious conversations and names flying back and forth with these clubs.
Kenny, as long as I live, I never want to be a sunken asset, I'll tell you that. What I did want to ask you, in my day, if a trade like this was made, it was in conjunction with the team that the great player would go to, would have a chance to sign him. You're saying that probably is not going to happen.
I would expect that is not going to happen, Ron. And you're talking about that 72-hour window. The Padres are not a team that would be likely to sign Betts anyway, were he to become a free agent. They're not in position after Hosmer and Machado to do that. But at the same time, that would also complicate this thing. And a lot of times with those windows, teams do not like to grant the extension of that negotiating period because it compromises their leverage if things go awry. And it's a complicated thing, and these trades are already quite complex and difficult to complete. And in this particular case, I don't expect that the Padres would grant or would want the window. Would the Dodgers? Perhaps, and that would make things interesting, and certainly that is a possibility. because the Dodgers would want to sign Betts. But if you're Mookie Betts, I don't know that you want to sign right now with anyone. You want to go out there and see what your value is, push the market, and just see where it goes.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot more risk for the Dodgers than there is for the Padres in that regard because, look, the Dodgers risk ruining the previously bulletproof hold that they've had on the division if they weaken themselves too much for 1 year. With the Padres, man, go for it. Roll the dice. Do it. And I have a few thoughts on this. First of all, the Will Myers conversation. Will Myers, if he goes to the Red Sox, is going to be better than he's ever been in his career because he gets to face the Orioles 18 times. Simply that. And he also gets to hit at Fenway Park. So there's upside there. Yeah, I get the luxury tax hit. I get the price tag on Will Myers, but you have to give to get. And if that's the trade-off, okay. Here's another thing. And people are asking the question, why would the Red Sox deal Mookie Betts? The Red Sox have been left with a financial mess because of some of the long-term guarantees that were made by the previous administration that left them in bad shape. So there's not enough nickels to rub together to keep Mookie Betts there. And JD Martinez, who didn't opt out. And Chris Sale, who you've got to pay now. I mean, there were a lot of contracts.
David
Price, like, it's a mess there. They can't afford to keep everybody. The band cannot stay intact. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up is that, Kenny, you're very generous by giving the Red Sox a 25% chance to win the AL East. Very generous. I'd like for you to explain that 25%. Take one moment. Explain the 25%. Because I give it 0% on this day. 0. There's a mess there. Tampa's really good. The Yankees are really good. How are the Red Sox going to win the AL East?
Matt, I'm not going to defend that comment.
Thank you for the hot take,
I don't believe the number
Flash.
is 25%, but I am sure when Fangraphs and other publications come out with their projections, their chances are not going to be 0. So there is some chance of them winning the AL East. They are a talented club.
I want to hit you with a little hyperbole on a Monday, by the way.
That's fine. I
it's
love
not
it.
0 for me either. I'm just trying to make a point. It's hacky.
No, but it is a good point. And it's going to be difficult for fans there to grasp this because, hey, they're thinking, I'm sure Red Sox fans are thinking, let's just sign Mookie Betts. What's the problem here? We have money. No question. They do have money. But all of the things you just mentioned, Matt, all of the contracts, the obligations that they're under, these are serious things. These are not things that are going to go away. And you're right. At some point, they have to make choices. We forgot Bogarts, who has a big deal as well.
Yeah.
So from that perspective and from the perspective of the long shot of the division, the long shot of signing him, maybe the no shot of signing him, at that point you have to be realistic and you have to start to transition your team a little bit. It's not that they're going to be an awful team without Mookie Betts, but the question really is for the Red Sox, okay, you're good with Mookie Betts in 2020, but how much better will you be if you trade him, get all those benefits going forward? It's a fair question.